Wake up call, folks. This is Acid Roots, and we've got some Southpaw for you. So, this was a summer movie. I know I'm aware that we're almost into October, but this is a movie that came out in July, starred Jake Gyllenhaal, and originally Eminem was going to be in it, but he chose to work on his 2013 album instead. So we got that, and naturally he still decided to make music towards this. So another fun fact is he was going to be in Elysium too, so what happened was the movie came out. Shady Records produced this whole album, so you're gonna find that the product littered with these artists. So I was excited about it. I heard about it somewhere in May or so, and I said, well, I'm definitely gonna fuck with this project. Now, unfortunately, the finished product is a rather great disappointment. Now, I liked Shady 15. That was a word that's almost good enough. That's pretty much good enough to be called an Eminem album, but I do not like Southpaw. It just felt a little bit rushed, and if it wasn't rushed, it felt kind of not uncohesive. So we'll talk about this. Can you smoke to this? The answer is there really isn't a single good beat on this release, at least of new songs. There's 12 songs on this total, and there weren't many that I will admit to saying, well, it's something for you to bake to. So I think the drama never ends, that song, and then the song Mode would pretty much be like the only ones. Which leads me to the production. I really was not proud of how the production was handled on this release. It just felt as if, when you do a soundtrack, a lot of times it seems as if the 100% is not as much of a deal, just because if the movie isn't gonna do well, or like it gets bad ratings or something like that, the whole project bombs. The soundtrack usually is pretty comparable to it, so you can never tell if a movie's going to be big enough or not. And I swear that this movie may end up having that problem later down the road, just because sports movies usually have that problem. And I was really kind of disappointed, just because I love the direction of Shady 15, and it just is unfortunate that Slaughterhouse is on one song and they don't nail it at all. Yellow Wolf is missing. Bad Meets Evil has one good song and the other one kind of blows. And the opportunities were just a little bit too compact. If there would have been like 2 extra songs or something and better production, would have worked. But that leads me to the Unheard Songs. So I liked 4 songs on this release, 4 out of 12, and those songs were Kings Never Die, which did kind of try me a little bit, because Eminem kind of does that sometimes, where he just takes he'll get on a hook with Sia or Skylar Grey, and then he'll rap for like the whole song, and you won't hear the hook except for maybe one time in the beginning and one time at the end. I just don't like when he does that. I wish he'd just do like the standard 3-verse type thing. And so that, I like the song, but it just, it kind of tried me, just because we didn't get the correct, normal format that would have made it a better song. Raw was a really good one. That one kind of felt a little bit out of surreal. That's what I want to say. It felt surreal, kind of out of your body type thing. The 50 Cent song was surprisingly good. I like seeing, I mean, 50 Cent has gone bankrupt, so if you wonder where he's been the past several years, he's just, been trying to stay afloat, and, I would like to see what he can do with his career, because guess what? I mean, he's seen more money than a lot of other rappers have, and if he were to just take a direction that was not New York style hip hop, kind of get like Bone Thugs a little bit, he'd probably be like a rather slick dude. I mean, that's just something I would like to see. But I do like the song. I think he needs to be on more soundtracks. Prime, that song was the fourth one, and this is basically Royce the 5'9". I looked it up, and he's with DJ Premier, and so this is a good song. All of these songs have like fair production at least. It's kind of reminiscent of Shady 15, but it just doesn't quite meet the bill. A few of the songs that I really was kind of disgusted with were Phenomenal and RNS and This Corner. These were three songs that I felt like probably should have hit the nail. And All I Think About's another one. Bad Meets Evil. These four songs, if they would have been good songs, probably would have made this soundtrack one of the best movie soundtracks out. Phenomenal. The reason why I didn't like it is because the beat changes at the end. I just don't like that practice. If it's, you shouldn't be that annoying to where you're sick of the own instrumental on the song that quickly. Sometimes it needs that to carry it, and I just feel like that didn't work. All I Think About was really bad production on there. I mean, it kind of felt dreary, kind of has like a dreary sound to it, but I think it just gets really repetitive. It's just going to be a real mess. RNS, Real Nigga Shit, is another one. That one's an almost song. I kind of almost liked it, but I'm just on the fence about it. This Corner was, a D12 member was trying to go pop, and it just didn't really fit at all. I really don't think we'll ever hear that song on the radio, so, yeah, the almost songs, there were a handful of them. The Weeknd, Notorious B.I.G. were a couple of the other ones. And the reason why I'm not giving these songs like the highest score, just admitting that these are good, is because in a lot of ways I like Notorious B.I.G., but it just doesn't meld with my style. It doesn't quite, you know what I mean? It just doesn't go with what I'm trying to get through. And it's the same thing with The Weeknd. I like The Weeknd, but, you got all these songs about life out and about, and then he's kind of like a Drake style person, and he sticks out like a sore thumb. It's gonna feel way too soft for a lot of people. So I don't recommend this release, and I mean, maybe I will down the road. There's a possibility that I might down the road, but for the most part, I don't really. I was kind of disappointed that songs that Eminem were on were actually this bad, because usually Eminem doesn't make bad songs. I mean, that's the thing, is if he's on the song, it's not going to be bad, but this just really kind of lowered his, it almost lowered his credentials. So, yeah, so I'm going to give this album like a 3.5 out of 10. And the future, there isn't one, unless, Shady Records executive produces another release. That's pretty much the only way it's going to happen. Is this album social? I'll give it a 4.5 social, just because people are going to know the Big song, the Weeknd song, the Eminem songs. They're going to know who a lot of the people are on this release, but it just doesn't quite hold a candle to anything that Eminem has done. that includes Shady 15. So I would just get the good songs that I mentioned, and then just go get Shady 15 because it's better. So can it be topped? Yes. And the overall weaknesses of this release are that there's not enough output from the Shady records, and when there is, the second problem is just they're not good. So this, could have stood to be more cohesive. Give this album a 3.5 out of 10 and a 4.5 social.